everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to be here with you today, starting out our week with our Motivation and Mindset Monday, episode 1809 over at stephencabral.com/podcast. Today, the topic of the day is going over how nature is always nudging you towards your goals. You just have to know what to listen for. So it's one of the most remarkable things that inside of our body is actually built. It has systems that have been created to let you know when you are on the right track. And that is exactly what I want to go over with you today. So as you're moving forwards towards your goals, whether it be wellness or health-based or body transformation for this new year, maybe it's on relationships or finding that right person in your life, or basically rekindling relationships with family, with friends, with coworkers, you name it. And then, of course, with spirituality, with finding your deeper place within this world that we live. So it could be any goal that is for you. Lately, I've actually been teaching a lot of our IHPs how to develop a more of a thriving practice where they can help more people and get more consistent results in their clients' lives. So again, it does not matter necessarily what goal you have set for yourself. And I hope that you've set a couple great goals for yourself for this year. What I'd like to do is simply share with you when you will know when you are getting on that right track. So for example, when we have our goal setting process, and we've gone over that the last couple of Mondays. So if you haven't tuned in, you can simply go to stephencabral.com/podcast. What you want to look for and listen to, and I'm going to go way more in depth on this as the show progresses, but you want to look for a push-pull within your body, okay? So think of it this way. Now, a lot of people talk about it in terms of muscle kinesiology, et cetera. We don't even have to get that deep. We really don't. Think about when you were setting goals for yourself, like simply, okay, I want to lose this weight. I want to get healthy. I want to develop a deeper relationship. I want to work on my spirituality. I want to work on my career. Think about it. What excites you? What lights you up? That's one of the first things that you want to look for. What are you starting to get excited about? And here's why that matters. If you set a goal for yourself that you are not excited about, then it does not mean that you can't achieve it. You can, right? So a lot of times, many of us have gone through school and undergrad and graduate school, whatever those things, and you don't necessarily want to take that class or pass this exam, but you do it because you have to. Okay, so what does that take? Well, it takes willpower, right? But we only have so much willpower in our life, which means as an adult, when we have many other priorities pulling on us, family and children and responsibilities and bills and all those things, you want to understand is that when you set new goals for yourself, you don't really want to stack more goals for yourself that are going to take more willpower. Okay, I really want to explain that because, again, you will have to do things in your life that require willpower, but willpower is in short supply. It's also why the things that take the most willpower, you really want to do that first half hour, or first part of the day, because as we know, willpower starts to wane towards the end of the day. For example, worked for many, many years in the health fitness-based field, and still do to this day. It's not like I've stopped working in it, but working specifically with clients, workouts, trying to transform their body or take their physical attributes to that next level with professional athletes, et cetera. I work with many world champions. I've worked with all sorts of different athletes and love working with them. Their discipline levels are very high. Let me give you that example then. So for example, if you are someone that doesn't enjoy exercise, but you know that you need to do it to either lose the weight or keep it off or for a health-based reason, those are the people that absolutely should be doing those 6 a.m., 7 a.m. workouts because you need to get it done while you still have some willpower during the day. Okay, because if you wait until end of the day, what happens? Well, you can always find a million different reasons. Have to get home early, stayed late at work. Sometimes we even self-sabotage to make those things happen so we don't need or can't get in that workout, right? So if you don't like something, get it done earlier in the day. There's that book written about that called Eat That Frog, right? I believe Seth Godin wrote that book. I'm not positive, but actually, it might have been Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy, I believe, wrote that book, Eat That Frog. And it's important, right? So whatever your top tasks are, really doesn't have to be something that you dislike, but whatever's going to move you closest to your goal, try to do that earlier in the day. It can make a game-changing difference. And check out my previous podcast as to how to get back about a half hour to an hour every single day for you. That's to work on you. Remember, if you get better and you are happier and you feel more fulfilled and passionate about what you are doing, everything in your life gets better. And that includes all the people around you who are priorities as well. So now let's go back to the athlete. The athlete doesn't necessarily have to do their workout first thing in the morning, because for the most part, they are intrinsically motivated to work on their sport or their chosen profession, right? So for me, like, I love to teach, right? So I love doing this podcast, love doing these videos. For me, I don't need to do it first thing in the morning. I could even do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon towards the end of my workday, because for me, it's I get to do it, right? So think of it this way. You have to do versus you get to do. I get to do this podcast. It is a great privilege. It takes a lot of work, and yes, it takes energy, but I have the energy for it because I get to do it. For me, it's an enjoyable activity where I get to teach. A lot of other people, they could think that that's crazy. I totally understand, but that's because it's not what lights them up. Right? For them, it might be some quiet time to their self. It might be reading a good book, whatever it might be. Okay, you don't need to do those things first thing in the day, because you get to do them later in the day when you don't even need as much willpower. Willpower comes first. Okay, so going back to this, push versus pull. When you are coming up with a goal for yourself, do you feel yourself driven to do it? Are you being literally pulled towards it or kind of pushed back? So for me, thought about doing my podcast, thought about doing videos for many, many years. I was pulled towards the podcast, okay? Why was I pulled towards it? For me, before I started doing it on video just a few months ago, I didn't have a lot of time. So I was working with private wellness clients all day long. I was overseeing literally 20,000 appointments a year, a lot of work. Didn't have time for the whole video setup. We actually started that in the beginning. It was just too much work, but I wanted to continue with the podcast. So I was pulled towards teaching. Okay, instead of opening many more locations and wellness centers around the United States, my goal was this. Let me teach more. Let me reach more people. I was pulled towards that. I could pull out a microphone literally and just speak. Every single podcast contains no more than 5 bullets of notes for me. That's it. If I get off track, I say, oh, there are my bullets. Oftentimes, I never even look at those 5 bullets at all. And for me, all it is literally one little document, typically just you would start an email and I write 5 bullets. That's it. So, and today there's 0 bullets, right? So there's not a whole lot of prep. I know the topic I want to talk about. I'm well versed in it. I've been teaching it for years. I try to stay in my lane. I try not to talk about things that I have no business talking about, and help people and how I can help them. Now, why was I pushed away from video, even though I go back and I wish I had done the videos. I wish I had kept with those. I really do, because we would be able to reach far more people on YouTube. But the nice thing is, at least we started now, right? Like, again, I regret not doing it for 10 years ago. I was on video since 2008 as a health correspondent for Diet.com, for Self Magazine, for Condé Nast, for all these different publications. I wish I was on video back then. I mean, imagine how the ability for me to reach more people would have been exponentially greater, millions of people. And it's okay, though. It's okay, because I was pushed. I didn't feel that drive to do it. Not that I didn't feel the drive to do it. I shouldn't say that. I wasn't ready. I simply was not ready. Now, I could have pushed myself to do it. Maybe I should have. But it's okay, because again, we have time. We can start now. But again, I was drawn to it. I was pulled towards it. I want you to think about that. What goals are pulling you towards them? Those goals want you as much as you want them. Start there, right? Video absolutely takes a whole lot more work. I'm doing it now. Not as easy, takes twice as long. There's just more setup. There's, it's me putting on a white shirt. But before, I could be in my bedroom at home recording a podcast. I could be anywhere. And again, it's okay. I have a bigger mission now. I want to reach more people. That's what it's all about. And I'm willing to now do that. So all of these things do matter. But again, need to make sure that they're scheduled. All right, let's get back a little bit more towards what makes all of this happen, though. Why the pull? Why the push? And what nature has done for us, and in fact, to actually move us more towards our goals. Well, it's given us this specific neurotransmitter called dopamine. And I've spoken about dopamine before. I can even try to link up to it today on that previous show. Episode 1809 is today's show, stephencabral.com/1809. There's the show I did previous lets you know if you might be lacking in dopamine, okay? But so many people are lacking in dopamine because they are not moving on a path in life that lights them up. So think of dopamine as the reward neurochemical in your body, okay? It is naturally produced by the body, brain and body, in order to continue to push you towards your goals. So it's basically like you're drawn towards your goal because you want to achieve it. You want to lose the 50 pounds. You want to get over the autoimmune issue. You want to find that right person. So you're getting out there. You want to work on your career. So remember, you're being pulled towards it. Like that's something that means something to you because of what you would get if you achieved it, right? If you lose the 50 pounds, you might feel more self-confident. You might feel like you have less joint pain. If you overcome the autoimmune issue, well, you're going to have more energy. You're going to have more life to your body. If you find the right person, you're going to be so excited. You found that person you want to spend your life with, all of those different things. Okay, so we know that. So again, we're willing to put in the work. Well, what dopamine says is you're basically going to also be able to overcome obstacles. That's the amazing thing. Here's why. With dopamine, you are being rewarded for those actions you were taking along the way. So if you get up early in the morning and you do that workout, you might not want to do it. But what happens when you exercise for like 90+% of people? They get a boost in neurochemicals, a boost in endorphins, one of those being dopamine. So what does that mean? Well, it means after that workout's done, how do you feel? You feel amazing. You feel amazing. How long does that last for? Hours, if not the entire day. That's most likely then going to follow you through the day saying, make better food choices, okay? Take more steps. Do the things because you already did this workout. You feel so great. Now you have energy and you want to do what? More of that. So the next morning you wake up, you say, I really don't want to work out again today. I'm still a little bit sleepy, a little bit tired, but you say, I'm committed. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this workout. What do? You do the workout, 5 minutes, 10 minutes into the workout, you start to feel good. By the end of the workout, you feel fantastic. As long as you didn't deplete yourself. So now it starts to build up over time. We have what? We have momentum. So much of this is understanding that some things in life you have to do. You have to do them. That takes willpower. Try to do those a little bit earlier in the day. But even things that you have to do, like again, pass that certification, pass that course, pass that exam, get that degree, whatever it might be, right? Like whatever it might be. Or just dealing with your kids, right? You have to do those things to make sure they grow up to be responsible and healthy human beings. Okay, so what do we do though? Well, we get to see though, even the things that we don't love to do, we get to see the rewards from those. Remember, when you get that certificate, you get that diploma, you see your kids growing up, they're happy, they're healthy. Okay, it makes all of those things that you had to do along the way that much more worth it. So you say, okay, I am going to continue this. I know that I have to do things in life because they have to get done. But now I also have that part of my life that I get to do. That gives me meaning, right? It gives me meaning to do things like this podcast. It gives me meaning to read hundreds of lab tests every single week. It gives me meaning to be able to teach all of these integrative health practitioners all over the world. Like that gives me meaning. I get to do those things. I don't need as much willpower, but I still get the dopamine boost every time I do those things. And there's one more tip I want to give you today because this is a game changer. So many people right now, well, and they've written in the past, they say, well, it's hard for me to get to bed before 10 o'clock. I understand. I was there myself, and I know that it's extremely difficult when you're in college. I get that, right? I get that. Different schedules, you're staying out late with your friends, like whatever it might be. I understand. But as we start to move into being an adult and responsibilities and all those things, we have to understand is that we are not night owls. We were never meant to be night owls. I explain that inside of IHP. I explain that inside of all my different health results accelerators. As human beings, we are not nocturnal, which means that take away our electricity, put us outside in a tent for 3 weeks. We are going to recycle and reset back into the Earth's and nature's circadian rhythm, which is we wake up with the light and we go to bed with the dark. It's as simple as that. I mean, it honestly is. When you do that, though, there's one more part to it. You actually start to produce more dopamine naturally. And the converse is also true, or the inverse. If you choose to stare at your computer, stare at your phone, work late at night past 11 p.m. specifically, through to 4 a.m., if your eyes and your skin, it's not just your eyes, remember, this works on people who are eyesight impaired as well. And here's what happens, and here's what they found. Even those people that can't see are affected by blue light at night. Here's what happens. Your body actually begins to produce less dopamine, meaning it is taking away your reward center in your brain if you choose to work late at night. Now, again, I understand I work with a lot of nurses, I work with a lot of doctors, a lot of people that do the night shift. I get it. You have to do that, right? It's part of your job. But if you're ever able to switch shifts so that you can work during the daylight hours, 100% it's going to be healthier for you. There is obviously so many studies on that. When you don't produce melatonin when it's dark out and you produce cortisol instead, detrimental to your natural circadian rhythm. Remember, we are human beings being in nature. We are meant to work with nature. So what I can share with you is this. If you could wake up a little bit earlier and go to bed a little bit earlier, you are going to start to produce more dopamine naturally. It's one of those things I tell people with low energy. I know it doesn't make sense, but here's what I want you to do. Follow a sleep protocol. We have many sleep protocols over at EcoLife, but you need to get yourself to bed by 10 p.m. at the latest. And then I don't want you to sleep any later than 7 a.m., even if you're tired. I know you're tired. Now, again, this doesn't go for teenagers and those, 22, 23 years and younger. You still need a little bit more sleep. Okay, so that's that. So you might have to go to bed and just, again, get your 9 hours of sleep, maybe even 10 hours of sleep, because your body's still, even cognitively, not fully developed until about 25. But let's say most people, you're going to bed earlier. You're used to sleeping until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever in the morning. Most people need 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Not most people, all people. Some need 7, some need 9, right? More of the ectomorph, vata body type, a little bit more towards 9. But here's what I want you to do. Don't wake up really past 7 o'clock and use either a wake light or keep your shades up if you live more in the country with no street lights, so that you begin to wake up naturally with the sun, with some of the blue light, with some of the rising. Again, there are color gradients that you need to expose yourself to. So if you want more energy, you want to drive forward faster towards your goals, you need to begin to wake with the sunlight. And if that sunlight isn't available, like it's not for me in here in New England during the winter hours, purchase a wake light. You can find all of those recommendations at stephencabral.com/resources. I review the best companies in the world who are the best at what they do, and that's one of the things that I use right now. So every morning I wake by light myself, even though the sun hasn't risen yet. And that's one way that we're able to kind of rework that system a bit. So because if not, I wouldn't be waking up till 7 o'clock because it's winter time here. So here's what you want to do. You want to get in better tune with nature. You want to listen to what you're being pulled towards to. That's that gut feeling like, oh, this is something I meant to do. I always talk about that. I say this basically, if something, and I do this myself all the time. Okay, I have a lot of goals I've set for myself, a lot of things I want to achieve, but I don't do them all right away. If it keeps coming back to me month after month, and sometimes even year after year, like these videos, I know that I need to do it. I know that I need to make the time. I need to make it a priority. That is something that you're passionate about or that you feel a deep connection with, and it's something we need to move towards. If you begin to reset that sleep cycle, you're going to get more of that drive and ambition anyways in the morning. You'll be able to take all the work you were doing at night anyways and just shift it more towards the morning. Remember, if you're waking up at 6 a.m. and you typically didn't wake up until 8 o'clock, you've got 2 hours. 2 hours of prime time before the rest of the world is really waking up. You get to put in that time. Imagine what you can do with 2 hours a day. I mean, 2 hours a day, you can accomplish pretty much anything you are looking to do over the course of 90 days or, a year's time, because you're getting 14 hours or so every single day, or even just 10 hours if we look at it for the week. That's a 40-hour work week over the course of a month. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. 40 hours, you're looking at 52 work weeks extra per year. So I should say 12 extra work weeks per year. So much you can accomplish, so much you can do. Just remember, listen to that gut. What are you being drawn towards? If you're not being drawn towards, you feel like you're being held back, and you need to do it, try to set it earlier in the day. And what I want you to do is reset that sleep cycle, get in that exercise, do things that naturally boost dopamine so you have more natural energy that you can then put towards your specific goals. Hopefully today's show was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. And of course, if it was beneficial, please do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve.